Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Hot Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, the Hot Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about the previous Midwittery has now gone full Dimwittery. Specifically, as I said a few episodes ago when I was talking about the one woman I used to hang out with back in the day. And the whole Casey Putch situation is what it is. And now she's basically gone full attack mode on me now and trying to essentially gaslight me into thinking I'm the one who's a fool and she's the one backing establishment jerk-offs like Vivek is what it is there. So, yeah, it's just a bunch of shit, honestly. I'm also kind of pissed at myself, too, because I couldn't find the remote for my tower fan. So I ended up looking for remote replacements there on Amazon the other day. And sure enough, I found one, and they were able to get it to me today. It was like a pretty quick turnaround. I think it was like 24 or 36 hours, something like that's what it is. Unfortunately, I didn't realize. I thought it was AAA batteries that were in it. It was actually a little CR1232 battery that's in there. And I swear to God, I had like a pack of around here someplace that had some of those in it, but I don't seem to be able to find that now is what it is. So I don't know what the hell happened to that if that were the case, but just like fell someplace or was set someplace and then just got moved around by a bunch of other things, whatever the case be or what it is. But yeah, so basically that remote is useless now because it didn't come with one is what it is. So that kind of sucks. If you hear any background noise right now, I got the fan right now and the lowest setting is on right now. So because it is kind of hot in here right now. It's like, I think it was like 76, 77 a day or something like that, which is crazy. It's like you have basically summertime weather here in the early spring days of Ohio, and then it's supposed to be by like Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be down in like the 40s again now. And it's like, and this is the problem with Ohio weather. It's so bipolar, dude. It's like, figure it out, people. Seriously, like either have it be this thing or have it be that thing is what it is. Either have it be spring, summertime, or have it be, wintertime. Like, quit, flipping it around every so often is what it is there, which kind of does lead back to what I've talked about with Honda and company in the past couple of weeks now is what it is, which I really think there's, when you look into HARP and stuff like that, whether regulation specifically is what it is there is definitely like a lot of fucking with Mother Nature that they've done in the past, like the powers that shouldn't be able to do there have done in the past like decade or so. And when you start to go down that road and stuff, like you realize very quickly, like that's definitely going to mess up like natural Mother Nature is what it is there. I think this is what we're seeing right now is what it is. And that's why you're seeing like these crazy like couple days of like heat and then like immediate cold again, where it's, like heat and then it's going to be cold again. This kind of stuff is what it is there. Because having grown up here in Ohio for, 41 years of my life now is what it is, I can tell you right now, like we've always had like a late winter storm, usually in like either April or May is what it is there. But we've never had stuff like this where it's like constantly fluxing. It seems like it's either going to be thunderstorms for like a couple days and then it'll be nice again, or it'll be, like cold and then it'll heat up and then it just won't be cold again is what it is then unless we have like that one winter storm is what it is there. So yeah, it's just very like it's so bipolar. It just makes me question like, what's really going on behind the scenes here, and like, is it something to do with like cloud seeding and stuff like that? Which obviously, we had the General Assembly trying to ban that shit here about a year or so ago. They never did, I believe, get it passed. Is what it is, at least not yet, anyway. So I don't know. It could be cloud seeding related. It could be HARP related. It could be a bunch of different factors, honestly. But what needs to be said about it is definitely weird stuff going on there. Is what it is. And the thing that's funny to me too is going to what was recently said between me and this woman, because she was basically talking about conspiracy theory stuff, and it's like, you realize all that stuff is like what you're claiming to be conspiracy theories. Like almost everything that can be claimed to be a conspiracy theory has become a fact right now in the last like decade or so. So it's not even a theory; it's literally, hell, the whole term conspiracy theory itself was a terminology that was created by the U.S. government after JFK's assassination because too many people were not believing the official narrative is what it is there. And so, yeah, her whole thing was basically she was trying to direct attack me now is what it is, and being like, oh, you probably believe like the Egyptians and the Israelis were behind Charlie Kirk's assassination and stuff like that. It's like, why are you putting retarded shit into my fucking mouth, woman? Like, Jesus Christ, like, you know, like it's shit like that. I think it's exactly why I never really got into a relationship with this lady, honestly, dude, because like she seemed like a cool chick at first, but you could tell like she definitely had like issues with it was after the fact, and I think that's probably why her ex left her is what it is then. So, but yeah, like it's just sad, man. It's a sad situation. It's like I don't know, like I feel like the whole thing really just never needed to happen is what it is there, but unfortunately she, decided to be dumb about it and go full retard and, try to claim that Putsch was some kind of neo-Nazi or something like that, which is like, okay, what is your definition of that? Because I'm pretty sure that definition has changed over the last like decade by people that are, keep trying to put other stuff in the frame as what it is there. So, and again, criticizing another country or criticizing leadership of another country doesn't make you a neo-Nazi, doesn't make you anti-Semitic, doesn't make anything like that. That's what it is, dude. It makes you literally question the truth of what the hell's going on and who the fuck is controlling things. And then she was trying to claim like I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, or whatever the case be with like the draft stuff. And it's like, no, I just see our country and how it is going and the stupidity and how it seems like, honestly, at this point, it seems like Trump is kind of like any other day, just acting like he wants to be Jesus Christ at this point, honestly. So I don't know what's going on with that dude. I mean, hell, you could make up a theory at this point and claim that he was replaced by somebody or something like that, what it is, dude, which honestly, like, given the mass technology that we have now in our society, that's just civilian market masks, by the way. That's not the stuff the government would have access to. Like, they would have way, way more advanced stuff as what it is there. But between that and how many people can do a good impersonation of Donald Trump, honestly, like, would it really surprise me if they didn't just like take this dude out on day one and then replace him with somebody else is what it is that kind of sounds like him is what it is there? Like, it would kind of make sense, honestly. Or even like, as we know, there's like clone stuff going on too, for that matter. Like, who's to say they didn't clone his ass a while back as it is, then just grew a fucking Donald Trump 2.0 or something like that's what it is there. That was all like, given some kind of a like brain deal to be on the side of like the globalists is what it is there or something. Or it could just be that Donald Trump himself was just fucking sellout, honestly. It could be any of this stuff, honestly, dude. So, I don't know. I just know it'd be nice to be able to, sit back and just enjoy my life and enjoy my society and stuff like that without having to deal with, the stupidity of people trying to fuck me over constantly. They're just government officials, what it is there, because they want to be career politicians and just, be corrupt as fuck is what it is at all levels of it seems like anymore. So, it's hard to say, man. But I think there's a lot of moving parts of what we're seeing right now. It is, though. So, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull this up right now. See if there's anything worth talking about from Breitbart for a couple minutes here before we go. Oh yeah, that's right. You had apparently U.S. and like a bunch of other countries were trying to blockade the Strait of Hormuz now is what it is in Israel, which kind of makes me question, again, going back to what I was saying about the draft stuff earlier. I think this could actually be the boots on the ground there in Iran is what it is, dude. And that's just me saying that's what it is. It ain't some theory at this point. It's just like, hey, like, this is just, and that's the thing people don't get, dude. It's like when you have like all these chess pieces being played and stuff like that, and you start to realize like, hey, like this could actually lead to something. It just depends how long it would take, honestly. And the fact that we're supposed to be, I believe the ceasefire thing is supposed to be like 2 weeks long or something like that. And it's only been a week now is what it is. So, and I'm pretty sure it was already broken in the first like few days is what it is there. Because you had Israel starting to attack Jordan out of nowhere, and then they were claiming like, "Oh, Jordan's not part of this peace deal." Whatever the case be, it's like, what the fuck, dude? We'll just stop being aggressive asshole douchebags. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, Chinese tankers turned back from challenging U.S. blockade. Others passed Strait of Hormuz safely. Rand Paul, no evidence Iran was an imminent threat. That's debatable at that point, honestly, because you have obviously them for decades now being like, oh, we have this, we're trying to do this, whatever the case be, and like it was proven now that we've struck a bunch of stuff that was like material where they could have been making nukes and stuff, is what it is. So that is one thing I will disagree with Rand on. And then we got Pakistan preparing more Iran-U.S. talks. Makes sense. Honestly, they don't want to be the next, getting blown the fuck up with what it is there, especially when you got, like, besides the Ayatollah there in Iran, we've taken out, like, 10 different people that were supposed to be in leadership at this point or something crazy like that. So, yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all, is what it is. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. And the thing is, too, like I've said before in the past, like, I don't even think it would be like, I'm not even so sure it would be a draft at this point that would happen. I think what's going to happen is, like I said, I think there's so many Islamic terrorists in our soil right now, not to mention Chinese sleeper cells for that matter as well on that one. All it takes is one activation of these people, dude, on some day near future here, which, when you start looking into stuff right now, it's, let me see, how many days is it till July 4th right now? 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 370, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 81 days. So we have 81 days right now until the 250th anniversary of this country. And yeah, you could easily have stuff be set up in that time period in like half months basically is what it is, dude. If it's not already being, plotted daily is what it is there, and they're just trying to, like, I truly believe, honestly, what we're seeing right now is you're seeing, like, these baseline Islamicists and stuff like that going out there and doing, like, their mosque building in places like Texas and across America, basically is what it is now. And meanwhile, you have all the various jihad sleeper cells that are like 3-4 man teams at most, usually what it comes into being there is what it is. So let's say you got, 1,000 different versions of that. So you basically would have, I mean, let's not even say 1,000, let's say like 500, right? Like 500 teams or whatever. So that would be 1,500 people that you would need then for that. If it was 1,000, it'd be like 3,000, which there's more than that, honestly. I mean, hell, there was that woman who was talking to Sean Ryan a few months ago. I forget what her name was offhand, but she was basically, I believe, a CIA. I forget if she was an analysis or she was like, analyst. That's what I mean. She was an analyst, or if she was like an actual field operative person, whatever the case be. But she was basically discussing about that with him, and she was saying how, as far as she's aware right now, from everything she's basically looked into, there's at least 1,000. Roughly, at least 1,000 or roughly 1,000 dudes that would be of I'm trying to remember which terrorist group it is right now. I want to say Hamas, but that's not the one it is. Al Qaeda, that's what it was. Yeah, she thinks there's at least 1,000 Al Qaeda on US soil right now. They happen under Biden, obviously, which I wouldn't be surprised with more than that, honestly. And then when you add Hamas and stuff like that in there too, that potentially could have jumped our borders too, for that matter. And then not only that, but you also have like the radicalized people here in America that would have jumped in the mix too, for that matter, in the last 4 years or so. So yeah, you potentially, like, and let's talk about, all these quality lyric centers and places like that are all fraud places in Minnesota and shit, dude. How do we know those places weren't actually being used for like training grounds and stuff like that? That would actually make sense to me, honestly. So if you look at it from that perspective of things, and you have like, not only the fraud, but also like you're defrauding, tens of billions of dollars there from a single state. And then when you look at it, nationwide is what it is. They're doing this everywhere is what it is then. When you have, over $100 billion there from various Medicare daycare fraud, and then you add the Medicare fraud and everything else like that's what it is there. You can fund a lot of sleeper cells, dude. You can fund a lot of weaponry being bought on the black market and stuff like that. And, you can fund a lot of training for these guys. And so when you start to look at it from that aspect of things, like, it all starts to tie together a little bit there. And so, yeah, you could easily have some bad shit happen in the next couple months, is what it is then. And that's, I think, the scary part of everything now is what it is, dude. So, And the fact that these people are not, understanding or listening to what I'm actually saying to them is what it is. It's like, this is what I'm actually talking about, people. Like, you clearly don't pay attention to the channel. You clearly don't pay attention to what I'm actually telling you. Like, you're just trying to live in your own little bubble of establishment BS is what it is there, and don't get, like, when you're listening to the establishment BS, like, you're being fed lies, dude, 100%. Or you're being fed exactly what they want you to hear is what it is there, to not question what's really happening behind the scenes is what it is there. Whereas all you gotta do is look up this stuff, and it's like, you can easily find, like, the crazy shit we're seeing right now is what it is, dude. I mean, hell, look at, specifically, I like to look, I would like to use Australia for that one argument too, because theirs was the most recent attack, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when it came to, like, a first world nation here. And yeah, you look at what happened on that beach there, what was that, like 4 or 5 months ago now? And it was 2 dudes, man. It was 2 dudes that were part of the sleeper cell there with various firearms. And they were able to kill like 10, 15 people, something like that. Now, granted, nobody there was armed, obviously, because Australia is a gun control hellhole, so it is there. But that's the whole point, dude. When you have a gun-free zone, and that's what a lot of America is at this point, you could easily have just like massacres in a bunch of different spots there, dude, that nobody would see coming. And it's funny when you look at, specifically if you go back to the October 7th attacks there in Israel, these people that were at this rave, like, you literally had, going back to where they were at, let's say the blue pill case here was Israel. This was the Hamas terrorist guys here. So you got the people here in Israel at the rave here. You got, this would be like Palestine or whatever here, like their border and stuff. They just literally went over the border there and just attacked the freaking festival. What the thing was, when they attacked that festival, you had the DJs at the festival telling people, it was like 7-8 hours before the attack happened, they're like, hey, like, we're hearing, stuff that people are coming here is what it is to kill us. Like, let's get the fuck out of here is what it is. And everybody's like, turn the music back on. We're too high to leave, et cetera, because they're all getting high is what it was, dude. So, and then what's even crazier is, like, when you start looking into what happened that day, when how many people were massacred and stuff like that, there's what it is. Like, none of these people had any, not only situational awareness, they had zero, I'm trying to think what the term is now. Zero self-preservation is what it is there. Because I think there was one guy that had any preservation to live is what it is there, dude. And he ended up lobbing back, I think it was like 7 or 8 grenades in this little bunker thing that him and like 10 people were hiding in. And then eventually it was like the 8th or 9th one that came through is what it was. He ended up having a situation there where he couldn't find it in time, and it just blew everybody up in that bunker. That's what it was then. But yeah, they were chucking the grenades in there. He was grabbing them up and just chucking them back out of them. That's what it was there, dude. So, unfortunately, he wasn't able to do the last one. What it was, because too many people were just like freaking out in the corner, basically, where it ended up landing. That's what it was, or something. So, but yeah, you had. I remember hearing one of the stories. There was a young girl who was like 21, 22, something like that. What it was, and she realized like what was happening. She ended up dumping or diving into a freezer, I believe is what it was. That was like a cooler freezer kind of thing is what it is there. And hiding for like X amount of hours or whatever. And then I believe she thought that everything was good to go or whatever, and she ended up popping her head out and she was killed that way. Then going back to the people that have no situational awareness or self-preservation is what it is there. You had like 10 of these people hiding in like a big-ass dumpster, but instead of just keeping their heads down and like, keeping their mouth shut and hiding and stuff like that, they were literally like popping their heads up to check for who was there. And of course, the Hamas guys saw them doing it, and they're just like, et cetera, when they pop their heads out, is what it is then. So, or I think it might have been a situation there where they might have tossed a grenade into the dumpsters, what it was, or something too, for that matter. So yeah, it's stupid people not doing the smart thing is what it is. But again, you also had like one road in, one road out of that place, and yeah, you had people doing traffic jams and shit like that, and then nobody was like, again, had the forethought, the forethought in their frontal lobe is what it is there. to actually just say, hey, let me just drive across the fucking field over here and get the hell out of danger. Like, they're like, oh, no, there's like a traffic jam here. Let me just like sit here like a dumbass and get shot. It's like, yeah, you're just dumb. So, but again, if you're all, stoned out of your mind and stuff like that at the time, like, you're probably not thinking clearly anyways what it is there, which again, like, that's exactly why we don't go to a fucking rave. That's like 1,000 feet from a bro with another country that hates you is what it is, dude. It's really that simple, honestly. So, anyway. I don't know. It's a sad situation in that situation there. Like, again, you could have prevented that stuff from happening. I really do think that, if anything, it was an inside job. I think that was an inside job at some place. Like, there was definitely defenses that were like left, clearly like not manned properly. What it is there to like stop the shit from happening is what it is or whatever. So, like, clearly somebody's able to slip through somehow is what it is there, dude. And you would think with a country that has the whole Iron Dome thing, it's like that wouldn't be possible, but apparently it was. So who the hell knows, dude? And I think, honestly, like, if you do want to go down the conspiracy road there, that could have been done as like a prelude just for them to fight back is what it is or whatever. Because, like here's the thing, like, would I put it past Benjamin Netanyahu specifically, who looks like a fucking demon? Would I put it past that scumbag motherfucker to sacrifice a bunch of like 20-somethings in his country, like a couple thousand and whatever it is there, to use that as like a precursor to war, basically? And the answer to that question is fuck no. I would not be surprised if we did that at all, is what it is, dude. In fact, that would be, if you're a sick demonic fuck like that, it probably would be a good prelude to actually do that kind of stuff, what it is there. So, and a smart strategy from what he would be thinking is what it is there, or whatever. So, but, like I said in the past, I'm just sick and tired of, 90 and 95% of our current Senate and Congress right now being tied to AIPAC funding, when you should literally have that entire political org there be considered a, you have to register as another country's entity is what it is there. And if they actually did that and did it the right way and stuff like that, I'd have no problem with people taking, money from that thing, obviously, except for the fact that then you obviously wouldn't be America first. You wouldn't actually be pro-America. You'd be pro-Israel before America is what it is there. And I'm not about dual allegiance, what it is, dude. I'm about you being, that's the thing too, like, that would be like a bunch of Americans going over to Israel and getting into power over in their country and then being like, well, we're just going to take a bunch of political backing from U.S.-based places, what it is here now. And it's like, how is that not dual allegiance, dude? So, you're either for America or you're for something else, is what it is, dude. Can't be both, is what it is. And if you're going to try to be both, then maybe you shouldn't be in power, what it is then. And it's really that simple, honestly. So, but anyway. So let's read a couple other headlines here from good old Breitbart News Network. So we got Jimmy Kimmel ignores Sowell scandal, disgraced Democrat launch gubernatorial campaign on ABC show. Trump reforms cut legal immigration by 50%. I believe that one, I actually see it go into effect, is what it is. We got a members only thing, 12 years after Boko Haram, mass abduction, over 80 girls still missing. That's crazy, dude. Nigeria, dangerous as ever for Christians. That's what the people never talk about, by the way, is like the Christian massacres going on overseas and stuff like that, dude, in a lot of these like various African nations. So now you got that piece of shit Spurnbringer falsely claiming she supports Second Amendment rights, even though she was the one that literally was trying to do away with a whole AR ban, like an assault is bullshit what it is there, dude. Apparently, I guess the most recent thing was they had put the original legislation on her desk from that Bangladesh guy that was in their General Assembly now, who apparently is trying for Congress, apparently is what it is now. The new 7th district they created there for Democrats. And you had Spurnbringer come out and was like, oh, let me do a bunch of reforms here for these like 5 bills, whatever the case be. And it's like, nobody ever said what it was because nobody ever has the actual text for what it is. But I guess they're going to be, it's supposed to be a week from tomorrow. So a week from tomorrow, a week today. No, it's 22nd, so that'd be a week from tomorrow then. So yeah, you have next, not this coming Wednesday would be tomorrow, but you have next Wednesday on the 22nd there. The Virginia General Assembly is supposed to be reconvening then for, I don't know if it's supposed to be like their spring session or what exactly it is there. I think maybe they're for like spring break or something else it was or something. So, but we're actually going to read this. Virginia, here's what it is though. With lying ass CIA fucking piece of shit Abigail Spermbringer there. Signed 4 gun control bills last week alone, but released a statement today in which she said she supports the Second Amendment, which is an absolute lie, obviously. Not to mention she's an oath-breaking cunt who literally stole office there through voter fraud. It's a statement from Abigail, coincided with her push to amend the current assault weapons ban legislation. Breitbart noted that Spermbringer had until the 13th, which would be yesterday, to sign or veto the legislation, but chose instead to offer changes to it. One of her proposed changes would significantly broaden the scope of the ban by shifting the focus from one type of ammunition magazine to another. Jesus fucking Christ. The National Association for Gun Rights pointed out the version passed by the General Assembly defined an assault weapon as a semi-automatic centerfire rifle or pistol with a fixed magazine capacity of over 15 rounds. Spermbringer wants the word fixed stripped from the language of the bill. It said NAGR noted that the result of Spermbringer's change would be that, quote, any semi-auto that has a magazine capable of holding more than 15 rounds is now considered an assault firearm. Yeah, of course she does, dude. Of course she's trying to push that bullshit, is what it is, dude. This would seemingly include pistols completely, is what it is there, which would be not only AR pistols, but just regular handguns is what it would be then. So basically she wants to ban Glocks, SIGs, Tauruses that are 15 or more rounds is what it is in there. Rugers, et cetera, there is what it is, dude. Just anything over 15 is what it is. So, WAVY News reported a statement which Spermbringer released her proposed changes, and the statement says in part she supports the Second Amendment, which is such a fucking lie, dude. Like, and again, this is just the gaslighting bullshit from Democrats is what it is here, dude. Where you're gonna lie to both sides of your fucking mouth and your ass is what it is. This woman looks like a cancer patient, I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like, her cheekbones like all fucked up is what it is. Like, she's basically gotten like fat sucked out of them or something in the past. Like, honestly, if I was gonna say like anybody was a demon on Earth right now, I would think Spermbringer herself is demonically possessed what it is, dude, for sure. I wouldn't say a succubus or something like that, but I would say like just like an everyday like just baseline demon, not really a Crossroads one, but like, I mean, maybe a Crossroads, it depends. But yeah, just like a baseline like demon that would just like jump into somebody's body is what it is there, dude. Like a low level one or whatever then would make sense for her ass. So, but yeah, she's a total piece of shit in general is what it is, dude. So, yeah, let's see, continuing on with other articles for the day here. We got Disney begins mass layoffs to, quote, foster a technologically enabled workforce. Translation, we're going to fire Americans and hire H-1B visa holders. Let's see, then we got once deported illegal alien, gang member wanted for murder, found living in Florida now. That's fucking great. Let's see, Diana Rushini resigns from the Atlantic after photos of Pat's head coach, Mike something or other, or with head coach apparently. Yeah, whatever. That's just stupid football bullshit or stupid dumb shit. So we got DOJ fires prosecutors who weaponize FACE Act against pro-life activists under Biden, as they should be fired. They should be fired and prosecuted. So for literally going against American citizenry is what it is there. So we got baby Jessica, who was rescued from a well in 1987, arrested at 40 after domestic disturbance. Not surprising on that one. We got 7-Eleven to close 645 stores in North America this year. That is a lot of stores, by the way. So it makes me wonder on that one if they're just not performing or if it's because I know a lot of the 7-Elevens like that are also owned by the important nationals that are giving them money to basically buy these places. It's like $200,000 or something they're giving up front. Some bullshit grant they never pay back is what it is. So it makes me wonder if maybe they're just like going out of business because they can't ever pay back the money they owe to the government, what would be then, or something like that. What it is. Maybe they're just moving out of that business, trying to go to a different business or something like that. Not to mention a lot of 7-Elevens are in ghetto hellholes too, for that matter. So it could just be they're being robbed out of business for that matter. So then we got Warren Davidson pushes for privacy reform as Mike Johnson fights against it. Those who don't know, Warren Davidson, I believe, is an Ohio Republican for re-election this year. What it is. Don't care about the NFL thing. There's what it is. So we got Sowell, accuser shocked, Democrat, quote, raped me and choked me. I thought I died, what she's claiming now. Then we got Pelosi denies the Democrats turned a blind eye to Eric Sowell's behavior. The fuck you didn't, bitch. Of course they turned a blind eye to it because they're doing the same shit themselves as it is, dude. Then we got Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries refuses to say if he pushed Sowell to resign. Again, going back to Hakeem himself, dude, that dude is definitely a crossroads demon, 100%, bro. So I think Schumer is too, for that matter. Yeah, Melania's doing some kind of stuff in Dutch Royals. Let's see. Then we got Trump versus the Pope. White House stays cool as supporters hammer Pope Leo XIV. Pope Leo responds to Trump's criticism. Let's see if there's anything else we're talking about here. 15-year-old tennis star dies after suffering heart attack on court. Or if that's Jap-related or not there on that one, because that's really, really young to go out, dude. So, apparently the manager of the Orioles baseball team was struck in the face with a foul ball. That's gotta hurt. So, yeah, let's see what else we got here. Bombshell, Biden DHS knew Sheridan Gorman, accused killer, did not have valid asylum claim, freed him in the U.S. anyways. Again, how is Milanakis and all these other people like that, dude? Like, how are these people, or sorry, not Milanakis, Marcus, how are these people not facing, like, prosecution at this point is what it is, dude? Like, that, again, that's the one thing that really does bother me, or one of the many things that bothers me quite a bit about Trump and company. It's like, you have these actual criminal motherfuckers that are doing all kinds of criminal stuff like that, and you're just not doing anything to, like, deal with them accordingly is what it is there, dude. So, and then we got this one. Biden released illegal alien accused of kidnapping, raping Minnesota woman on Easter Sunday. Fucking ridiculous, dude, what it is. Nicole Kidman now claims she's training to be a death doula. That's just creepy. Doesn't know what that is. I actually saw that recently. It was on that show, The Pit. Apparently, it's I believe it was just originally called a doula, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day. And it was essentially like a midwife, more or less, that like help people in the pregnancies and stuff like that's what it is there. And we're like staying usually with the mother that was about to give birth and stuff like that, and like being there for her to like essentially be like moral support and like give her what she needed to give. She was on like bed rest and things. That's what it is. Whereas I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the death doula thing is like the opposite of that, where it's basically if you have like terminal cancer or something like that, like it's these people that are there for you to like help you, you know, get your medications and get your various things that you need. If you need a hospital visit or whatever the case, they'll drive you to the hospital is what it is there and stuff. So, yeah. It's actually a very sad deal all the way around there, because, you know, you're obviously going to get to know these people before they die. And yeah, like that's a lot of grief to put on your own shoulders. That's what it is, bro. So, but anyway, let's see. Then we got Iran threatens widespread consequences for Strait of Hormuz blockade. We got OPEC oil production slows dramatically due to Iran war. I guarantee that's going to be our gas prices going up again. That's what it is. Which I don't understand why we're not just tapping into our own stuff at this point in Texas and everything else for that matter. We got oil in Texas, we got oil in Louisiana, we got oil in various other places. We can bring it down from Canada if we needed to. You know, you can get it from other places too, for that matter. It's not just, you know, overseas there, bro. Like, it shouldn't do anything at this point, honestly. So, see, then we got police dog pub helps seize $75,000 in illicit cash at Atlanta airport. I'm assuming that has to do with probably drug money is my guess on that one. This is just pretty disgusting here. Michigan Democrat caught joking about MSU shooter weeks after the attack happened. These people really are just demons, dude, for real. We got woman faces murder charge. Her DNA links her to newborn found dead 45 years ago. That's crazy. Imagine getting away with that for 4.5 decades, dude. Only to have like DNA that's now, you know, in place there to like be what caught you. It's fucking wild, bro. And we got New Jersey Mass Transit plans to hike tickets to MetLife Stadium 775% during World Cup. Jesus Christ, dude. Again, that's some elitist bullshit right there is what that is, dude. Let's see what else we got now. We got Sowell to resign, disgraced Democrat mocked. Senator Ruben Gallego says Sowell should be expelled from Congress. Ironic because Ruben himself is literally the son of our cartel boss. The dude's dad is literally a middleman for one of the main cartels in Mexico. There's what it is. That's killing people. And the only reason Ruben's even in power there from Arizona is because he literally committed voter fraud to get in office with this there. So, then we also got Tony Gonzalez to retire from Congress after admitting to a affair scandal. Brendan Herrera actually did a whole thing about that earlier today. He made his own statement about that, considering he's going to be replacing Gonzalez here pretty soon. That's what it'll be. At least most likely anyway, because the way that congressional district is, there's no way it's not going to go with Brandon winning the district come November, which kind of makes me wonder if there's going to be a situation now where they're just going to have no congressional seat until that election. Does that be the case? Or if there will be a special election sometime in the next like 6 months or so to replace Gonzalez for a couple months is what it is there. So it's hard to say. I would say honestly, right, like truthfully right now, if like they knew Brandon was going to win anyway, like I would say just have, like what I would say honestly right now is what they should do is they should just have him and the guy who is the Democrat frontrunner, whatever the case be, that won that primary, or maybe a girl, actually, I'm not sure, I can't remember offhand, but either way, the person that's the Democrat there, and like anybody else that would be in that race, just have them all run right now is what it is, in some kind of like, you know, May, June election, whatever it is there or something. And whoever would actually win that out, they just get the fucking seat for the time being, and then they just run it back come November is what it is then. So that would be whoever wins that, you know, special election is what it is, then would just be the incumbent person for the next, you know, 5-6 months is what it is then. Because that way you actually have a congressman for that district, and it's not just sitting there empty for, you know, X amount of time now is what it would be. So anyway. But let's see what else we got on here right now. Yeah, I got this one. Netanyahu, U.S. Israel strike on Iran turned never again into reality, dealt reign of terror, hardest blow. It's like, yeah, sure that did, bro. And we got Iran demands Arab countries it bombed pay compensation. That's just ridiculous, dude. So silly. So silly. This one's pretty messed up. Comedian Tim Dillon claims Trump staged assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Why? Why would he do that, dude? Like, it was clearly, he was like clearly clipping the ears what it is there. This just shows Hollywood weird pedophilia bullshit here. Fans freak over Sydney Sweeney's, I'm not sure I pronounced the word of that show, Europa character dressing as half naked baby in season 3. Yeah, this shows exactly the Hollywood like child molestation shit right here is what it is, dude. Because they're pushing this just like psychotic behavior, just demonic behavior is what it really is, honestly, at the end of the day. As if it's normal and shit like that when it's clearly not. I've never watched an episode of that series, I never will. I just don't watch Hollywood garbage like that's what it is, so. But yeah, it's just a sad situation all around. There's not really much else to discuss headline-wise. Here's what it is. It's mostly just about Sowell resigning and other people resigning and a couple other things that are going on. So, actually, no, we'll talk about this one momentarily before we go. So you got state of Mississippi legislators make illegal migration a state crime. That should be nationwide at this point, honestly. Texas threatens to pull $110 million from Houston after sanctuary immigration policy change. Report 20% of Spain's population is now foreign born. It would be interesting to know here in America, state by state, how many people of our populations are foreign born or like anchor babies and stuff like that's what it is. Because I guarantee it's a lot more than 1% is what it is there, dude. So, but yeah, it's just a sad situation all around there. Then we got policeman who attacked Altman wanted to prevent impeding extinction of humanity by AI. It's not surprising at all. Yeah, I don't know. There's some AI shit going on now. It's just really, really fucked up with what it is, dude. So we got Marjorie Taylor Greene claiming Trump's mental stability questionable based on his posts. I mean, I think everybody should take cognitive tests at this point, no matter what they are, whether it be president or members of Congress, members of Senate, etc. There, governors, state house reps, and stuff like that, etc. So then we got Hillary Clinton claiming Trump's unhinged social media post disgraceful, orders GOP rein in reckless Trump before he does irreversible damage. Ironic, given this bitch literally gave fucking nuclear material to other countries when she was Secretary of State of this country under Obama. So, and we got squad member urges Haitian temporary protection status extensions to, quote, protect workers who make communities feel like home. Okay, which stupid bitch said this shit? Oh, of course it was Presley. Fucking Presley, man. I actually heard a good one about her today, how she basically has made like, I think it's like $45 million or something like that since she became a congresswoman 8 years ago now, which is completely impossible unless you're doing insider trading and stuff. And now owns like, it's like 3 or 4 different rental properties, including one on Martha's Vineyard. That's making like $350K a month or something like that, what it is, dude. So, yeah, all kinds of shady shit what it is there, dude. All kinds of shady shit, though. But yeah, I'm pretty disgusted by it all right now, is what it is. And like I said, going back full circle before we leave today, I think people are just trying to gaslight me, is what it is now, dude. Specifically that chick I was talking about these last couple episodes now. So it's like, you act like I'm the one who's crazy, but it's like you're still backing the establishment woman. So like, who's the real crazy one in the situation, But I don't know. It's typical woman logic, it seems like. So who knows anymore? This is an interesting one. Apparently, U.S. states are now dropping the GLP-1 drugs from Medicare or Medicaid coverage as demand rises for them. I mean, I would never, like, that's the thing. I'm an overweight guy myself, dude, but I would never take that shit just because I know it just fucks you up completely, is what it is, dude. By the way, if there's none about the GLP-1 drugs, those are the ones that all these celebrities are taking now and have lost, like, a crazy amount of weight till they're like they're zombies and shit. And it's like, literally, from my understanding, the drugs themselves, it, like, basically stops you from wanting to eat. And even when you try to get off of it like that, you can never really get back to a point where your body like naturally goes back to your normal ways of what it is there. So you essentially are starving yourself to death with like some weird drug that's like putting some weird blocker in your system is what it is there or something. So yeah, I'm not down for that. Not down for that at all, dude. I'd rather be a pudgy faced dude for the rest of my life than be, dead in a year or two from some fucking weight loss drug or something that it is then. So I don't trust big pharma's bullshit. I never will. And I think that's the thing too. Like I talked to my sister about this the other day when we were talking about people being lazy and taking the easy way out of stuff is what it is there. And I think that's a great example of it, honestly. Like you have these people that just want to lose weight or whatever the case being. It's like I said, just going and hitting the gym and doing like a weight loss routine or whatever the case be, and maybe doing like a diet thing where they like change their diet a little bit as what it is there, to eating like smaller meals and like more protein based meals and stuff like that, to be able to lose weight and gain muscle mass and things like that. It's like instead they want to go and take, steroids or take weight loss drugs or something else for that matter, and just like, yeah, it's just you're taking it, it's like, oh, let me just take the pills, what it is there. And it's like, no, you're just taking the easy way out, dude, for real. So I don't know anymore, dude. It's just infuriating, but people are gonna do what they want to do, so what can you do about that, honestly? Not much. It's basically just let them do their own thing, and if they want to kill themselves through, some big pharma drugs, whatever the case be, because they eventually, eat their selves to death as what it is there, or their body just naturally eats its own fat reserves and stuff like that, and slowly kills you through malnutrition and starvation is what it is there. Like, so be it is what it is then, man. These are the dimwits of society that shouldn't even be here anyways, what it is then. So, but anyway, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day then. I will be back. I'm not exactly sure when, on this channel anyway. It'll either be tomorrow or Thursday for probably a little, like, 10-minute knife episode there. I will be back on Honda's chat in a couple hours, though, as far as more. He's going to be doing a chat in like 2 hours now is what it is. So if you guys want to go check out eHonda 42000, that's where I'll be hanging out in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, whenever he starts around 10:30, someplace in there. So till then, I will be figuring out something to eat for dinner now is what it is. I'm not sure exactly what I'll be grabbing. I might just do some, I don't know. I got some chicken nugget things the other day from the store. I'm not sure if I want to do those. Or maybe just want to do some like pizza rolls or something, maybe. I did some bagel bite things, the Walmart versions the other day in the air fryer. Or I got some the other day, I should say. I did in the air fryer tonight is what it was earlier this afternoon then for lunch. And when I looked up how to do them, because they were like, oh, you use a toaster oven for this time period or whatever the case be, I'm like, well, that could kind of equate to an air fryer, right? Like, no, it totally doesn't. It was like way too long. I mean, they were still edible, like barely, but like, yeah, I probably should have gone like 10 minutes at that temp or something like that, or maybe even like 375 at like 15 minutes or something then. So it would be around 10, I believe, 10 or 10:30 Eastern Standard Time is when he usually goes live. I think it's usually 10:05 is when he usually sets them for now. Sometimes it'll be more like 10:15 or so. For him, obviously, they're in Colorado. It's like 8 o'clock. His time is what it is for the mountain time. So, but anyway. But yeah, like I said, it's all a bunch of midwittery and dimwittery and everything else like that it is there, dude, going on in society these days. So, and just people trying to gaslight you and make you think you're the fool, and it's like, well, who's the real fool here, man? Like, is it me who wants to see a better state than we have right now? Or is it these fools that are, backing people who are clearly establishment candidates who don't give a shit about our society, don't give a shit about our state or in our country, and just want power is what it is there, dude. So, it just all depends, honestly. So, I don't know, man. I just don't, like I said, I haven't, and you got to think about it from my perspective of things, dude. Like, before I knew what I knew about Vivek from the Incubaby stuff, I was backing that guy. Like, I endorsed that dude way early on. It was like over a year ago I endorsed that guy for the governor's race before he even, chose to be on the ballot. And it wasn't until I found out about the Incubaby stuff and like all this other stuff about him with like the, big pharmaceutical crimes he committed is what it is there, where he should have gone to prison for securities fraud and everything else like that Martin Shkreli did, that I was like, no, fuck this guy. So, like, Nazi, who the fuck knows, dude? Like, maybe, or maybe he just doesn't give a fuck. Maybe he just doesn't care to have Israel up his ass is what it is there, dude. And most of Americans don't at that point, So, we don't want Benjamin Netanyahu sniffing around our fucking families is what it is, dude. Seriously. Sending our kids off to war and stuff for their own bullshit ends. I mean, hell, if I had that Thanos power glove right now, I'd just be like, snappity snap, and all the evil would be gone in this world. Just phase it out of existence, dude. But unfortunately, we don't have that kind of power, so it is there. So, I'm sure there is some person that has some kind of power out there to do something. I mean, hell, look at the CERN super collider thing that they've turned on a bunch of times and they've done like crazy stuff with, and not to mention when you start looking into like all these government projects and government, secret stuff that's all like blacklisted and redacted and things like that. Like, there's no way there's not like time travel tech within not only U.S. government, probably other governments too, for that matter. So who's to say somebody didn't just go back in time and just change a little thing here or there, whatever it's like, they slip a document someplace, maybe they, moved a piece on a board somewhere is what it is there, whispered in somebody's ear or something. And because of that, one single thing, it like changed history or whatever the case be then. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all, dude. I mean, it's interesting too, because when there's I forget who it was. I saw this about a year or so ago, give or take now. I want to say it was after I moved into this place, but it might have been right from my mom's house is what it was then for the last time. So it was maybe November of 2024. So like October, November 2024, wasn't there maybe? I had seen a video where it was this group of people, and I forget what they called themselves, but they basically were talking about how they remembered the end of the world happening in like 1986. And then it was something where you had, I don't know if it was like time travel stuff happened or whatever the case be to like prevent it from happening, or if it was like a bunch of like various universes kind of colliding together and like resetting the universe as it was or something like that. Then they were claiming then. But they basically had like this memory set of the world ending in 86 is what it was. And then it just getting like reset. Then after that's what it was then. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by it, honestly, dude. Like, especially given, how many potential universes there are in the multiverse and stuff like that. Like, who's to say we're not, like, intercolliding with a few of them, then is what it is. That would make sense to me, honestly. I mean, hell, like, going into the comics realm for a minute here, there was back in the day, I think this was around, like, the 2010s or so, give or take, you had DC do a whole reset. There was what it was. And the reset was based around the fact that you had the character of Superboy Prime being locked away in a pocket dimension, and him like trying to punch his way out of the pocket dimension. Every time he like punched the walls, it was the pocket dimension. It like shifted time in different universes and stuff like that, or shifted like various events that happened in different universes. And it was because of that specifically that you had the second Robin, Jason Todd, be brought back to life in that comic set as Red Hood is what it was then. And there's a couple other ones like that happened from that whole scenario and sequence of stuff as what was there. So, obviously I'm not trying to equate like real life to comic books and stuff like that, but I'm trying to say like, who's to say that there isn't something like that in the multiverse where you wouldn't have like, superheroes doing crazy shit and it's just like affecting like the non-super universes what it is there or something. Because I mean, the thing is like, you think about it, right? Like what we see as entertainment of like shows like The Boys or like anything from Marvel or DC and stuff like that, like those are all, set in some other universe and stuff like that. But who's to say like if you have the technology to actually go through multiverse universes and stuff like that, who's to say you wouldn't eventually find one like that actually did have superhero and super villains and just all kinds of super powered beings on what it is there. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to have some kind of super ability. Of course, if it was something like the Boys who took the Compound V and stuff like that, that'd probably be something real stupid you get though. Like, I know there's that one. I forget what the character is called offhand. I think they called him like Black Hole or something like that, and they showed him in the last season of Gen V, where the dude literally just had like you could basically shove anything in this dude's ass and just disappears what it was, and it's like that's so disgusting, dude. Or there was the girl they called Bushmaster, where it was her snatch hair was basically able to like come out and be controllable to be like basically Mr. Fantastic kind of stretchiness essentially, which again was also disgusting. So yeah, it'd probably be something crazy like Dazzle to be or something. So, or it'd be like that Ashley character recently in the. You haven't watched it. I'm gonna spoil on this one for people that haven't watched the latest season of The Boys episodes yet. They finally show what Ashley's power was, and apparently it was when she injected herself. Some people were saying she was going to be Medusa and have like hair and stuff like that, and like telekinesis. What it actually turned out, it was she had her wig off, and then it was a second head that grew in the back of her head. There is what it was that gives her like the power to hear other people's thoughts and stuff like that. Now it was quite disturbing and disgusting. Actually, it wasn't quite as disgusting as the other two people that I was discussing earlier, but it was still nasty. So, and yeah, that would be a terrible one to have, honestly, I think. Just because you would have to basically cover that up somehow and never be able to have, would never really be able to sleep properly is what it seems like anyway. You have to almost sleep like sitting up or something like that then, so you don't like, strangle your second half out is what it is there or something. But like putting their head in the pillow is what it is or whatever. So, but anyway. The power that Butcher got was pretty cool, actually. Although it was also kind of more like Venom creepy, honestly, on that one. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they end that series. I'm assuming it'll be on a down note, where it's not going to be a very good series finale. But then again, I mean, the whole series itself is basically, for the last 2 or 3 seasons now, is essentially Eric Kripke basically just pushing like pro BLM leftist nonsense as if they're the heroes and shit in this one, and like the right/Trump people are all the bad guys and stuff like that. So it's just stupid, honestly, dude. But anyway, who knows? It's not surprising though when you got Seth Rogen being one of the exec producers and stuff on the thing too, for that matter. That guy's a fucking piece of shit pedophile there in Hollywood. So, anywho, but yeah, we got about roughly an hour and a half, give or take now. Maybe an hour and 45 minutes until the show would probably start on Honda's chat. So I'm going to go ahead and put something in the air fryer then and get that cooking and do some stuff on the game I play. Because we're about a day or so from the new season starting. So I'm going to worry about that and worry way less about, this interaction I'm having with this chick is what it is there. I'm probably just going to leave that as it stands right now. If she wants to be stupid and keep going, I'll just be like, you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to respond to you after this is what it is now. Like, because that's the thing. I feel like it's just futility at this point, honestly, dude. Like, neither one of us is going to change each other's minds about stuff. So it's not even worth it to end up having the conversation anymore after this now. It's like I've said my piece several times now. She's, come back at me now and like started direct attack my intelligence and everything else like that. And I'm not cool with that, obviously. I'm also not a little piece of shit pussy that's going to defriend you for stuff like that. That's what it is there. I'm probably going to call you out to your face is what it is at this point then. And be like, hey, not cool. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a situation where it's like, and again, it shows like these women is what it is there, dude. Well, and that's what I feel like. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to waste time doing interaction with stupidity is what it is there, but at the same time, it's like, it goes to show what I've been talking about for months now is what it is, where, it doesn't matter if it's left, right, or center at this point. The 19th Amendment's a mistake across the board, it seems like, anymore, dude. Because it's these like childish-ass women that want to sit there and throw out, slanders and slurs on people without any real evidence to back it up is what it is there. Like, it would be one thing if you tried to sit there and tried to call Putsch, an anti-Semite or something like that is what it is there, dude, because of his criticizing of Israel and stuff like that. But to sit there and call him a neo-Nazi is just ridiculous is what it is. And even then, like, calling him an anti-Semite for being critical of another country and their interference in U.S. politics is what it is there is just ridiculous as well, too, for that matter, because it's not the case in either one of those cases, it's literally him just calling out the shit he sees in front of him and being like, hey, this is some bullshit. We shouldn't have this. At least that's as far as I'm aware. I haven't actually watched a Tucker Carlson interview with him and Tucker Carlson, so I don't plan to either because I don't want to waste. I don't feel like wasting my time doing that either. Is what it is, dude. I'm not sure where I could find that. Is what it is here on YouTube or something else for that matter. So I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I don't give a fuck. Is what it is now. So it is what it is, dude. You know, the one thing I will say about Casey Puch is between him, Vivek, and Acton, who are the three main frontrunners here, is what it is. He is the only one so far that has actually signed on to protect the Second Amendment here in the state level if he was to become governor. Whereas you now have the Ohio Gunners group. Today, it was Chris Dorr dropping a new thing about Vivek and telling him, hey, if you actually sign the petition thing here, whatever the case be, or fill our survey, we'll give you a free Glock, is what it was. So yeah, he's essentially bribing Vivek with a free Glock 19 for doing the survey, is what it is now. And I'm sorry, but if you have to bribe somebody with a firearm there for a free firearm to do something, like, maybe it just shows they're not pro-2A, bro. Especially when you've already told us in the last month or so that over a year ago, this douchebag was meeting with anti-gun groups at his own house, is what it is there, as you were leaving the house. So, like, that alone right there shows me Vivek is a fucking complete traitor, sellout piece of shit, is what it is, dude. And when you're telling other people this, and they're not apparently having it go through their mind, is what it is. I'm like, hey, maybe we don't vote for the guy that's maybe potentially anti-2A, is what it is. And maybe we don't let him become the Republican nominee, is what it is, then for the governorship. You know? Like, that's the thing, dude. At this point, I would consider myself to be basically, I would say anywhere from like a 3 to 5 issue voter, where the biggest two for me right now are Second Amendment rights being kept intact, really anything in the Bill of Rights being kept intact is what it is there. And then the second one would be human life. So it would be being pro-life, being against baby murder that they call abortion, et cetera, there's what it is. So anyway, but yeah. So like I said, I'll be being on this chat in about an hour and a half, give or take now. And till later, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, stay safe, stay vigilant. We are just over 80 days away right now from the 4th of July. And I believe, like I said, I think this will be the time period of history where you may see something go down, like a 9/11 style attack by Islam at this point. So I would say definitely be ready and be mentally prepared over the next 2.5 months right now is what it is, for something to go down and be literally able to stop it if you can. Like, if you're planning on being on the 4th of July, dude, like, be armed and ready is what it is there to stop potential attacks and progress so to be then as an armed citizen, and then be able to get the fuck out of Dodge after the fact. That's what it is then. So, and just to be clear, when I talk about get the fuck out of Dodge after the fact, I mean literally make sure that they don't think you're a target, and you don't have some situation where you're an armed citizen killing a bunch of Islamic terrorists, and then stopping terrorist attacks from happening, and then obviously some dumbass cop comes out of nowhere and shoots you and kills you is what it is then. So it's basically kind of a hit and run situation. It's like, deal with a threat and then, conceal your shit as much as possible and get the fuck out of there is what it is then. And figure it out after the fact is what it is then. So anyway, but yeah, like I've said this before, I think honestly a lot of these conversations that I've had with people in the last like 6 months or so, it's just retarded futility when it's all said and done. Like nothing's gained from it, nothing is, no minds are being changed at all for that matter. It's just basically headbutting. It's essentially when you look at, 2 rams or 2 goats and stuff like that, just butting heads constantly is what it is there. Or it's even like that one commercial from back in the day where it's like the dude's car is so shiny, like the ram thinks it's another ram that's gonna like butt heads with or whatever the case may be. It's just butting his head into a car and shit like that. So it's essentially just like beating his head into a wall, essentially. Like that's what half these conversations feel like anymore to me, honestly, dude. It's like you're trying to have a real actual debate, real interaction with someone is what it is there, and they're just like either so brainwashed or like just so in their own mind and space, like that's what it is there, and just want to be like, no, this person has to be evil because I can't be wrong and stuff like that. That's like, dude, that's the thing. I have no problem, saying, hey, like maybe this person isn't the greatest person ever, whatever the case be. But guess what? There's nobody else, dude. And then and what's funny to me is like going back to what this woman was saying. Then she was telling me to vote for this Heather Hill woman, and I'm like, I'm not even sure. I'm not even so sure she's on the ballot right now. What it is, I'm not so sure she made the ballot at all. And even if she did, like, she doesn't stand a snowball's chance in hell winning the Republican primaries. So why the fuck would I vote for her? Is what it is. Dude. That's a literal wasted vote at that point. Whereas at least Push stands a fucking chance. Is what it is to beat Vivek. There's what it is, bro. So yeah, it's just stupid, honestly, in general. But I don't know. I feel like in general, like the Republican Party at this point is just trying to hand our state to either globalists or Democrats. I'm not sure which, maybe even both for that matter, because Vivek basically is a Democrat in disguise. He's a Obama wannabe. He's just a fucking scumbag sack of shit in general. And then you got on the other side of the ticket, potentially, it would be Amy Acton's criminal ass, who should already be literally on death row for crimes against humanity for killing, thousands of Ohioans that were unborn and then a bunch that were obviously still alive because it was her direct action as health director that led to the eventual COVID death shots that took my mother's life and other people's lives for that matter. So, yeah, anyway, which honestly, you could potentially blame Trump for that one too, for that matter, honestly, dude, because he was the one that gave the Emergency Youth Authorization Act thing to allow these companies to do that when you literally had other drugs in the market that could have been brought up at that same time and tested real quick in a few weeks time span to be like, no, this stuff actually works and can prevent this shit. Don't give these big pharma companies anything. Because that's the thing, if there had been anything else on the market that could have been tested at the time and been proven to be effective against that shit, you would have never had Pfizer, you would never have Moderna, you never had Johnson & Johnson get the emergency use authorization stuff what it was there to do that kind of shit. And it would have had to have them be pushing that stuff through trials for like more than a decade, as it should be, because that's how you actually test things to make sure they're not going to kill a bunch of people. That's what it is, dude. And you would have never had them get that emergency use to put that crap on the market to begin with. That took these people's lives, and that's what it is. So, anyway. But yeah, I will never stop fighting for justice for my mother is what it is. And if that means, dealing with the problems myself is what it is at some point down the line by getting into power and putting these people away is what it is there, then that's what it means, And I'll leave it at that, really, is what it is. So, anyway. But, yeah, like I said, I'll be back on Honda's chat here in about 90 minutes or so, give or take. So, come over and enjoy that. I'm going to turn my fan off right now because it's getting a little chilly in this room currently. It feels a little cold right now. I think the weather outside has started to shift down from like the 70s to like the 50s or so now is what it is. So having the air hit me right now is a little bit chilly. So I don't really need to have that fan on anymore is what it is then. So, and come like Saturday, Sunday, I'm not going to have it on all. I'm not going to have it on at all is what it is. And I'm probably put my fucking heater back on is what it'll be. Because, yeah, you just have a bunch of crazy shit going on here where it's just constantly temperature fluxing and stuff like that, and it's becoming such a pain in the ass anymore, dude, for real. So anyway, but yeah, it's been fun. It's been real. It's nice to have debates with people, but at the end of the day, like, unless you're gonna have like a real discussion about things and like set up parameters and stuff like that, if you're just going back and forth with somebody, eventually it's going to turn into retarded futility is what it is. And when you realize that, over a 2-day time span, that's basically what it turned into now, it's not even worth it to continue on that conversation with it then. And it's better to just walk away and don't even bother. So move on, do what you're going to do anyway. They can do what they want to do. If your votes cancel each other out, so be it, It is what it is. So, but anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens, though, come May 5th. I assume Vivek will figure out a way to cheat his way into the fucking general election, but who the hell knows? So, only time will really tell us what it is there. But anyway, needless to say, I'm overall right now is what it is, dude. So, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and like I said, I'm gonna go and make some food here and figure out what I'm gonna do right now is what it is. I think maybe I will try to make those chicken nuggets is what it is then, because I do I'm kind of hungry for some chicken today is what it is, since I've already had pizza based stuff as a meal today, so I kind of want to do some kind of chicken, especially considering I have no what it costs to put my food on anymore is what it is there. Damn, apparently there was a Walmart incident that happened where it was some kid walking in the store and some piece of shit grabbing a knife out and slashing the kid across the face. Fucking crazy, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, man. Yeah, then you got... Jesus. Apparently 3 hours ago, you had Vance Outdoors in Orbits, Ohio, where people are gathered to hear GOP gubernatorial candidate Bert Ramaswamy announced his endorsement from Buckeye Firearms and the NRA. So literally the two biggest lobbying pieces of shit in the state right now. What it is there, dude. Not surprising at all. Not surprising at all. So yeah, fuck that guy, dude. He's anti-2A as fuck, and so are those orgs. If it wasn't for the NRA, we'd have better constitutional carry in the state. If it wasn't for the NRA, we'd have an actual true stand your ground that would be, people not having to be able to be lawsuited after they take the life of some piece of shit criminal by the piece of shit criminal's family is what it is there, which is stuff that could be done right now. If we actually had the Freedom to Carry Act, be put through either the state senate or state house and all the way to the governor's office is what it is there. So anyway. But yeah, until later, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always be carrying. Always be ready and gearing up for 4th of July in case something does go down then. Because like I said, I do believe that will be the most logical time for Islam to do something as it is there, especially with their sleeper cells in this country. If they were to do something, that would be the time to do it, honestly. Because what better way to do it than on the anniversary of, this country's history is what it is then. So anyway, but yeah, that gives us about 80-something days right now to prepare and be ready is what it is for that shit. Take care of the problems what it is then. So hopefully there's sheriffs out there gearing up and a bunch of other cops and stuff like that gearing up for potential attacks, and they can be ready to take care of that stuff as well then. But who knows? I doubt it, honestly. I think it's honestly, unfortunately, we have people's pants being pulled down right now that don't realize their pants have been pulled down and refuse to pull them back up is what it is there and take care of business there. So, if something does happen, it'll be preventable tragedies. And like I said, dude, I've been calling it out for at least a month now is what it is, because I really do think it's going to happen is what it is there, dude. So, and, why wouldn't you do that stuff if you hate this country so much? So, just to be clear, I'm an American patriot. I love this nation, and I want to see this prevented is what it is. And that's why I'm calling it out right now and just informing enough people that I can is what it is there, bro. So if anything does happen, like, I was not involved in any of this shit. I was literally the guy on the corner with the end is near sign kind of thing is what it is there, trying to be like, hey, something's about to happen, bro. Let's stop it. Let's prevent it. But nobody was listening, it seems like. So anyway, it is what it is. Like I said, only time will tell if it actually does go down or not. I'm more worried right now about the primary here in 3 weeks. So most likely Friday morning or early afternoon, I'll go vote at the Stark County Board of Elections, what it is there. Because if I wait until election day, it would be, it's some school around here. I have no idea how close it is to me. That's what it is. So, and I really don't feel like going up there and voting is what it is then. I prefer to just go to the Board of Elections and do it early and have it be done as what it is then. And if that be the case, then if people want to sit there and shit talk, I'll be like, hey, I already voted, dude. So it's whatever. Can't change the vote now is what it is. So anyway. But yeah, like I said, though, if you want to have futility after the fact, like that's on you. But I feel like I'm to the point right now where I've understood the conversations. I've said my piece. I've had my piece. You know, I'm trying to be for real with people and be like, hey, I was, and that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to tell people I care about them and stuff like that, but they're not listening to that, obviously. And it's like, I just want to see what's best for you and me, dude. I want to see what's best for all of us, is what it is. And what's best for all of us is not having some fucking piece of shit foreign national in our governor's office, is what it is. It's going to sit there and fleece us and fuck us over, is what it is then. So, anyway. I will see you guys on the next one, though. Have a good one, y'all. Stay safe, and check out eHonda for 2000 tonight. I'll be on that panel as long as he has the chat, which I think he will. So, anyway, I'll see you guys in about 90 minutes. Later, y'all.